Is up? Yes, there it is. Um, so sorry, everyone. Thank you so much for pointing out the mistake with the title there. We did catch it in the end. um, so thank you so much for joining us again. As always, I am Kae Winters. I do marketing here at TOKYOPOP. And oh, I think I can hear myself on your computer there, Shao. Was it
Yeah,
gone?
I've
There we
muted
go.
it.
Got it. Perfect. Joining me today is the incredible Shao Dow, the creator of the Way of Shao manga.
Hey, konnichiwa, Guan.
um, so I probably need to do a disclaimer at the beginning of this video for everyone who's watching this, who normally tunes in for our live streams that we do every week, every 2 weeks with Natalia Batista, the making a manga masterclass. I sound a bit different, and that's because I am actually from London originally, and Shao's influence on me has gotten rid of my American accent. So apologies to anyone who's a bit confused there. It's all Shao's fault.
The power of the vibe.
Yes, it is. It's the power of the vibe. It's affecting me all the way across here. So speaking of the power of the vibe,
Yeah.
Shao, can you give us a little lowdown of your manga for anyone who hasn't read it yet?
Yeah. So it's first and foremost, I'm a full-time rapper and manga author as well. And um, the manga is set in a world where musicians have special powers and abilities based on the size of their fan base. So the larger your fan base is, the more powerful you get. And that's the general premise of it. But the manga for me goes a lot deeper, and it's a very human look at the the struggles, the sacrifices, the behind the scenes work that goes into, I guess, living your dream, and that's really the story that I want to tell. And that's going to take a while to tell it, hence why the manga is a series and not just a one-off, because there's a lot that I want to say, and there's a lot that I want to express with this. So yeah, and I'm a giant manga nerd. I watch a lot of anime. I read a lot of manga, and it's always been my dream to be able to represent myself and my story in the art form that I love. So just the fact that I've been able to do that with the support of TOKYOPOP has been huge for me. So yeah, thank you so much to you guys.
No, of course. I mean, the moment we saw The Way of Shao, we knew it was something special. I mean, we were chatting a bit before we started the live stream about how much we love to see something different and unique and new and fresh in manga, in the comics world. And it's really cool. I think Way of Shao is something like that. And
Thank
it's,
you.
yeah,
Yeah. I mean, without being political, I just think that being able to see a character with my skin color
yeah.
on the front cover of a manga book it's really special to me, and I hope it's special to other people, not just the ones who share my skin color, but those who don't as well, just as something different, just as a different story. The main character is a representation of myself. He's not exactly me, but it's an idea of who I would be in this world. It's a retelling of my journey and my experiences as I've built up my music career, just with a lot more fighting and special powers. And the character is about as far away from a gangster or whatever stereotypical black guy a lot of people have in their minds. And I think that's really important to break down stereotypes. I think you just need to show alternatives. You need to show other differing images and different points of view. And really, I'm just representing myself. And I hope that anybody else, regardless of your skin color, who feels that they just want to be themselves, can feel, I guess, emboldened by it. I don't know if
Mhm.
I just made up a word. If I did, then that's fine. I claim it. Anybody who uses it owes me royalties. There you go.
You're a writer. You can do that. You have that power.
Yeah,
But no,
yeah,
I completely agree with you. I mean, it's always been a goal at Tokyopop to see more diversity in the creative world, in manga, in
mm,
movies, in comics, in everything. It's so important to, like you said, have that representation so that people can see themselves in
yeah.
something. But also, I mean, I read Way of Shao and I thought it was fantastic and I loved it. And I'm not necessarily a huge fan necessarily of rap music. I could
Mhm.
tell you the basics, but not much more than that. And it didn't matter because it was just a really good story. It's just a really fun, exciting story, and it's a great character. And I really recommend you guys, if you haven't read it yet, definitely check it out. We do have the first chapter, I believe, is available for free on Pop Comics, which is popcomics.com, or you can download the app on your Android or Apple device. It's a free comics platform from Tokyopop. We have indie titles, we have our own licensed titles, which you can unlock. But yeah, it's a good way to check out the first couple chapters of titles that you might be
Mm.
interested in. And Way of Shao is definitely one to take a look at.
I mean, I'm biased, but I would recommend.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Actually, funnily enough, I'm in Corfu at the moment, and I'm taking kind of an inspiration holiday. I really write my best work when I'm traveling and when I'm away. So I've been working on volume 2 of the manga recently, and I'm going to be doing some more writing out here for it. And I'm really excited because I'm starting to touch on the story that I really want to tell. The first volume was the setup
Mhm.
to explain the world and everything like that. But if you think you know what the Way of Shao is about, you don't yet. There's there's a lot to it, and there's a lot of nuance to it. So I'm really just excited, and I want to build. I want to tell this story and have people follow along on the journey with me as I develop this character and show the behind the scenes, not only of the music industry but of this world that I've created as well.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear it. I want to know what's going to happen next. I want to know what's coming in
Yeah.
this world. It's a great setup. And so speaking of that, you've been making music for a long time. Tell
Mm.
how long have you been making music? What sort of sparked that passion in you that made you think, yeah, this is what I want to do?
I've been making music for, I would say, between 15 to 20 years, and doing it as my job for must be getting close to, if not over 15 years. What sparked it was I lived in China for a while and was training in Shaolin Kung Fu out there. And in my downtime, when I wasn't getting beaten up and training until I collapsed, I was listening to hip hop, obviously, and writing lyrics. And eventually, I realized I was okay at this, and thought, yeah, let me keep doing it. And I came back to the UK, went to university, kept writing, released some music, and got a little bit of a name in the city that I was studying in. So I thought, yeah, I actually really like this. And when I got to the end of my degree, and realized that actually I need to now go into work and be a proper, be a real boy. I realized I didn't want to do that. And no, in
Yeah,
fact, that sounds horrible. And I don't want to be a lawyer, because that, it's just not for me. And that's not to say that there's anything wrong with it. It's just not for me at all. So,
yeah,
um, I knew deep down that I wanted to be a musician. I wanted to be a rapper. So I just had to find a way to make a living from it. And I think for me, this whole thing has come very full circle, because the reason I went to China in the first place was because when I was 11, I went to New York with my dad and my brother. My brother, yes, I think I went. No, 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 no. Sorry, no, that's a lie. I went to New York with just my brother. It's the first time me and him had traveled on our own without our parents,
mhm.
and we stayed with family. Obviously, we didn't just do a Home Alone. And and my cousins had Dragon Ball Z on the TV, and we didn't have anything like this in England. We had like
Yeah,
Postman Pat and Fireman Sam and
yeah.
by shows like that. And there was just these manly men with massive muscles and giant hair fighting each other and punching each other in the face and punching a small 5-year-old child for some reason. I was like, this is awesome. And it was a green guy and a bald guy who said things that you wanted to quote, and it was amazing. And people died, and they were shooting things out of their hands, and my 11-year-old brain just couldn't take it. And then me and my brother spent the rest of the summer trying to do kamehamehas and throwing pillows at each other. And I then decided that my dream job was to be a road warrior. I wanted to basically, like, my job was to basically be Ryu. I wanted to just travel the world and fight people. I thought that was a profession. So I got into martial arts from there. I started learning kung fu because I thought, okay, the quickest way for me to learn a kamehameha is to learn martial arts, and kung
Yeah.
fu, that's Chinese, that sounds cool, so I want to learn how to do it. After like, I think 5 years of studying martial arts, I realized that I wasn't getting any closer to learning a Kamehameha. So I thought, well, clearly not learning it right. Let me go to China and learn this. So I went to China.
Dedication. You're the most dedicated anime manga fan here, right?
Normally, actually, I actually joke that I am an anime protagonist, and I really am. Like, if it wasn't for the fact that I was, yeah. If I wasn't in Corfu, I normally wear like weighted clothing just
Are
for
you
banter.
kidding?
I'm not kidding. I normally just add.
Yeah,
like
you are an anime
kilograms.
character. You are your protagonist. Reason. That's insane.
Yeah. So for no reason, I'm just normally just wearing like 6 kilograms of extra weight just because. So went to China, was learning kung fu there, and then started rapping. Came back to the UK, developed my rap career, and then, you know, in the back of my mind, it was always about, I want to see myself as a manga character. I want to have an anime one day, etc., etc. And it's come back to that point where I've got the manga now, and even further where as I was saying to you earlier, I'm working with Sean Schemmel, who voices Goku in the English Dragon Ball Z, and I've spoken to him on the phone, and I've been as professional as possible, but really I'm screaming. And, you know, it's just really cool to actually speak to one of my heroes, and really one of the guys who ignited this whole journey that I'm on. So as to whether or not I represent that in the manga, I don't know, but it's just really interesting to see how that's all kind of happened, you know?
It's so exciting to talk to someone who is living their actual dream. I mean, you know, you saw your dream and you went, yeah, I'm going to make it happen, and you did make it happen, and that's fantastic. That's so impressive.
Well, there was a lot in between that. There was a lot of can I make it happen, and there was a lot of why am I trying to make this happen, and there was a lot of what the hell am I doing, and a lot of that is what I really want to represent in the manga in particular. Because for me, I always feel like success is only presented when it's successful.
Right.
I like that. And you know, there overnight success, in my opinion, takes no less than 5 years. And to be really truly skilled and to be a master of your craft, you need to put in your 10,000 hours, and there's no shortcut to that. It is literally 10,000 hours. And I think that a lot of mainstream media does not show that process of that 10,000 hours, and show that hardship, and show how much you have to give up and how much you have to sacrifice in order to live your dream. In order for me to be here, sitting here in Corfu, and to be able to say that, yeah, I've just come here to write and to film a music video and etc. The amount that I've had to give up, the amount of money that I've lost, the amount of relationships and time and experiences that I've missed out on, the amount of sleepless nights and worries and etc. that I've had to have in order to just have this small piece of idealism for just a moment. It's, you know, I don't know if it's balanced or not. I don't know if the price that I've paid is worth what I'm getting. I think it is, because, you know, I love the process and the journey as well, but I really want to show that in the manga more than anything else.
Yeah, and I think that's important. That's one thing that when I'm talking with new artists or new writers or people who want to go into making their own manga, and they say, well, I'm no good at it. And I say, well, you know, of course you're not. Nobody starts out good at it. You have to practice, you know, and the artists that we have at TOKYOPOP, the one thing they all have in common is they draw every single day. Every single day they draw something, and even if it looks like crap, they keep going. And then one day it doesn't look like crap anymore, and then one day it looks amazing. And you have to put that effort in, you have to put that time in. And I think it's really important, like you said, to show that process, to show that it doesn't happen overnight, that you're not just immensely talented and immediately get picked up, that you have to put the work in, you have to put the time in. It's a great lesson for people to see.
I mean, a lot of people have asked me, how did I even go about making a manga? And the thing that I always say to them is, I studied the art of manga, and I studied the craft of it. And even though I personally don't draw it myself, it's illustrated by my very talented friend and artist, Tonio Mason, I should say his full name. I write the storyboard and I conceptualize it, and we work very closely together to make it a reality. But before I even got to that point, I was picking up as many different manga as I could and reading it. I was reading the storylines, understanding the character tropes, understanding what makes a protagonist, what makes a good antagonist, what makes a good story, what is compelling, what keeps you wanting to turn the page, what are, like classic comedy points that you can put in, what is funny, what's not funny, and just how to structure it all out. A manga that I really loved was called Bakuman, which is a manga about creating a manga. And I think for anybody who's interested in making a manga, that should be one of your first ports of call, just to understand that it's not really glamorous. Like, the dude has calluses on his hands and he's super rich, but all he does every week is just try and draw to deadline. And he doesn't know how much money's in his account because he doesn't get to go outside much. So, if you want to be successful at something, you have to be willing to take those risks, to make those sacrifices, and to be dedicated, and to learn your craft and to master it. And I spent a lot of time just researching and learning about the process of how do I present my story for somebody who's going to draw it? How do I even, conceptualize the pages? How do I imagine this? How do I take what's in here and put it on paper? How do I write this down, etc.? What should the characters look like? How much is this going to cost? And it costs a lot of money, by the way. But all of that for me is worth it. And even if I don't make a profit from it, because I think I'm still a long way off from making a profit, as long as people are enjoying it, and as long as I've got a fan base for it, and as long as people are reading it and engaging with it, that's a good start for the payment. Obviously, I'd like to keep my lights on too, but it's a good start.
Yeah, you like to actually pay your bills. That's definitely important. But what's really interesting right now is all of the things that you just said are all things that we have touched on.
The connection's a bit slow.
Is it? Yeah, it seems like it's jerking a little bit here. Are we all right? Are we back? Guys, let us know in the chat if we cut out, or if you can't hear us. We'll pause for a little bit and wait for you. Oh dear. And it looks like we may be having some technical difficulties here. Apologies, guys. Just one moment. We will see if we are back now. Oh, you can still hear us. I thought they could hear. Oh no, I think they're commenting on what was before. I think we're back now, guys. Sorry about that. We had a little bit of an internet connection issue. But we are back now. So picking back up, as I was saying, all of the things that you just said, Shao, are all things that we have brought up in the how to make your own manga masterclass that we're doing right now. We even talked about Bakuman last week, which was fantastic. Oh no, and we've gone again. Oh, apologies, guys. Are we back?
Can you hear me?
Back? Yes, I think we're back again. Yes. Okay. All right. Let's see if we can keep this going. We'll give it a try. This may be the internet gods, but let's hope we can stick with it.
They don't want me to share the knowledge for the people.
They don't. It's too powerful. So you mentioned Tonio, the artist for Way of Shao. Where did you guys meet? How did you guys get to know each other?
So actually, the way that because I didn't know anything about creating a manga or knowing what to do with it. So the first thing I did was go to Hyper Japan in London, and I was just wandering around, and I saw a black guy who was selling his own manga, and I was like, "Ooh, that's new!" So I went straight up and talked to him, and he was the owner of a company called Mayamada, a guy called Nigel, really, really nice guy, and he's got this these different manga series, one of which called Samurai Chef. And I, of course, bought a copy and I asked him a load of questions, and he was just very forthcoming, very, very honest about it. And he offered to put me in touch with various artists, and I spoke to different artists. Eventually stumbled across a guy called Greg, who was based out in the Philippines at the time. And he put me in contact with Tonyo, who was also based out in the Philippines, and kind of it went from there. But it was literally just talking to people, asking questions, trying to be as polite as possible, of course supporting other artists, and immersing myself in as much of the culture as I could, because I think that if you're going to do something, you should do it authentically. You don't just dip your toe into it. You don't just say, oh, I'm going to make a manga because it's what's selling at the moment and everybody's really into it because, I don't know, Attack on Titan is popular. So I'm just going to copy that, but change the names. It's going to be Beren and his friend Mufasa. And they're going to fight giant cats.
You know what, though? You're joking, but I would read that. That actually sounds quite good.
As soon as I said giant cats, I was like, oh, actually, that sounds kind of cool.
Yeah, so we're going to have a sequel then for Way of Shao. The Way of Meow. I apologise to everyone for that. I couldn't help it.
I need to throw that in there. If you see it in there, it's because of you.
Excellent, yes.
The thing is, as well, actually, I have a cat called Mitzi, who I am going to put in the manga at some point, and I think the Way of Meow needs to come in there. Yes. So yeah, I like that.
Excellent, nailed it. I got it. See, guys, I can write manga.
Am I still here? You still there?
You are. I can hear you. Yep. Can you hear me though? Uh-oh.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You look like you're frozen. Let's see. Well, while we're waiting for Shao to come back, I think the internet in Corfu is a little bit rough. It's a very interesting point that he brought up about talking with people, networking. If you want to make your own manga, or really anything.
Okay, now I can hear you.
You're back?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Fantastic. Okay, excellent. I was going to say what you said was really interesting because networking is such a huge part of doing anything creative, right? It's, there's that old joke about, it's not what you know, it's who you know, but really knowing people, getting to know people, introducing yourself, being polite, being friendly, those are huge. Those will get you actually really far in this kind of industry. And we have been at comic conventions where people have come up with their portfolio, and we have lost Shao again, which means my video is going to look very interesting for you guys right now, isn't it? Yeah, it is. You get a little bit of my shoulder there. Let's see if he joins us again. We'll give him just a moment here. I think the internet over in Corfu. Oh, there we go. Are you back?
Okay, I think I'm back.
Hooray! We got you back. Brilliant. Excellent. We got you.
Hey.
So, we kept the stream going while we were waiting for you. So,
yeah, so I've got a feeling that this is going to be a thing.
This is going to be a bit of a thing. So we may need to cut it a bit short, which is fine. I think we've got a lot of things to chat about, and I don't think this will be the last live stream that we do. We did want to actually ask you to perform for us. Do you think your internet will behave for that? Is the question.
I mean, I could try, but as soon as I start rapping it might just freak out and be like, oh!
Yeah. Why don't we give it a try? Why don't we hand it over? I'll hand it over to Shao now. Let me just switch this. There we go. And yeah, go ahead.
All right. How's that sound? Can y'all hear me? I call this one The Way of Shao. Please find me online, the Shao Dow, and of course support The Way of Shao manga via TOKYOPOP. Let's hope the internet holds out. Might be too much sauce for it. Direct from Corfu. Try not to get the Corfu. It's The Way of Meow. Hold tight, Kae. Yeah. Whoever told them they could stop him was trolling. You better Steven, if you're plotting and I'm plotting, you're cuffing. You're not an equal. Above the steeples, God won't let me free fall. I guess I'm just a bird of prey. Call me an eagle, lethal with a hustle. My muscles are so prepared to struggle to love one, but these others are running scared. My music is a drug and there's some that's already shared. That's why I call it E, cause it equals an MC squared. You wanna dare step into the lair of the brother bear, cause I swear I won't rip a tear, leaving nothing spared. Yeah, I'm feeling in control like a battery. Original, you never find my soul in a factory. Actually, naturally, it can't match me. Athlete on the track. If you fly, I'm becoming a Nancy. I open locked doors, I'm a boss, not a lackey. I'm seeing what I saw and I did it exactly as envisioned by mixing rhythm and lyricism with ambition. I keep it different, that's why they listen. Now I'm living, full-time musician, but still I'm digging for additions, cause winning and giving is hidden from vision. And still I've never phoned it in for the credit. I'm on a matter peeing on these bars, do you get it? First day I had to teach you about wordplay, a dictionary up on Broadway, that's a wordplay. Now this is a brand new page of my story. I'm showing you the path I take to find glory. The way you shout, the way you shout, the way you shout, the way you shout. The pleasure, the pain, the pressure, the gains, the treasure, the strains. Yeah, I'm back again. The way you shout, the way you shout, the way you shout, the way you shout. When I was young I tried to run before I knew how to stand up, learned to walk before I crawled. Understand I'm not standard, forward not backward. If some ladies don't cut, and the honey is the only time I think about a butt. I'm legendary and that's me being modest. If I tell you I'm the truth, then I'm just being honest. I'm a guy following the vibe, trying to find freedom. Labels can't bridge because I don't need them. Meaning I'm competing behind the scenes, so a deal ain't lead, bro. Give me a casino, success in my path, and that first can't quench. I wanna make money, so I took myself French, maintenant. Je peux parler le français. Toutes les femmes aiment le danser. Je ne peux pas cesser, je ne peux pas m'arrêter. About to the sexy. Now this is a brand new page of my story. I'm showing you the path I take to find glory. The way you shout, the way you shout, the way you shout, the way you shout. The pleasure, the pain, the pressure, the gains, the treasure, the strains. Yeah, I'm back again. The way you shout, the way you shout, the way you shout, the way you shout. When I'm this gang of like worth living, throw me in the sea and we'll see who's swimming. Ambitious but impatient, I've been pouring, I've been caking. I know the secret of happiness despite the situation, loving life. But still I'm ducking Cupid like a bee. I'm on an adventure while brothers taking arrows to the knee. I make music, make money, and I make them scream. Travel the world to kung fu and eat chicken and ice cream. That is a brand new page of my story. I'm showing you the path I take to find glory. The way I'm out, the way you shout, the way you shout, the way you shout. The pleasure, the pain, the pressure, the gains, the treasure, the strains. Yeah, I'm back again. The way you shout, the way you shout, the way you shout, the way you shout. Now you see why I can't have a real job. I'm just not serious.
That's so good. Oh my god, that was so good. The thing I love about your songs as well is there's a lot of like nerdy references that you throw in there as well.
Oh,
right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I caught the arrow to the knee. That made me smile. I like that one.
Good. Yeah, and my latest single Nani is actually me rapping in English and Japanese, and there's a whole lot in there as well. And it looked like the internet held out, so I guess I can do one more if the people want it.
I think the power of the vibe carried you there. That was fantastic. Yeah, we had a little bit of a blip in the middle, but you kept going, which was great.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Let's give it a try.
All right, let's do it.
By the way, am I okay to swear?
I believe so. Yes.
Okay, good.
Let's say yes. Anybody who doesn't like, anybody who's not into it, use your earmuffs. Yeah,
I don't normally swear in my music, but this one needed it. This one's called Nani. Check out the music video on YouTube. Obviously, Nani means what? Nihongo toego.
You gotta work on the subtitles over this.
There's no subtitles, sorry. You can sing along at home if you want. By the end of this song, you'll be fluent in Japanese. Not really. Uso desu. Hey! Nani, 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 na 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 na. Yeah, yeah, Nani, Nani, Nani. We got Mohammed as well. Fuck it all now, what did you say? None at all. So let me shout like a Tamago. Tamago robs in the place of the panic mode. Make a man then scream Yamado. Shy guys can't stop me. Watch me rolling on the black yachty. From me, shouting schools where they got me. Drop me in the pit or get mossy. These guys think being polite means you're breaded. It's called fucking manners. You absolute spanner. Stand back there and try to fake baddest. Man track air and do their brain damage. Slap that bear and make him change grammar. Ma, Gambare Yoshi summer. Shao Dow realm, you're about to get banished. Nani. 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 Na 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 na. Otherwise, let's tie Makinai. I be that senpai bad guy. You're looking like red-eye parasite. With a man hentai appetite. Come through like shit. Make a man shit it. I cannot shit it. Fam, are you silly? Shouldn't got me rid of my killing without debate. Let no bars at elder art delay. Hooked, got him. You're chatting shit, not smelling like cook. Rotten. Talking about doing 10 toes. Are you running these roads and you don't want your foot bottom? None of your sender, yo. Come your pretender. Most bad when your friends are close. Damn it, I'm an anime protagonist ready to go. Damn it, there. And we say, I need that for you. Nani, sing it. Nani, Nani, na 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 na. Konnichiwa, guan. They don't understand the slang that I'm on. I don't give a damn to spend the Nihon when it's hammer time. Shao turn into Shao Kahn. Dabe, naze, nami. They don't have a Scooby, so they get strappy. Brothers mad look like a mouthful of wasabi. They can't kick pounds again, that's all can it. Teme, wa, muda, da, muda, 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 da. Make a boy sit down and say kumbaya. You can't match my drive with a kurama. Man, I can't eat Honda, sumo star. Out with a judo bar. Honda, bring back the hook and catch the koi. You better tell that boy to catch a koi. Nani, 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 la 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 la. Nani, 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 la 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 la. That one's called Nani. Please check out the music video on YouTube. It's pretty dope. I got a new single coming out next month. It is called Wait for the. It's not called Wait for the Meow. It's called Wait for the Summer. I got meow in my mind. Wait for the Summer. Wait for the Summer is the new single coming out next month. That's going to be awesome. I've got an animated music video for that, and yeah, I was watching it yesterday, and it's flipping dope. So yeah.
That is so cool. Oh my God, that was great. I'm so glad that your internet lasted for all of that, because
I am too.
Needed to hear that. That was fantastic. We do. Just for anyone who is interested, we do have all of the links for Shao's social media in the description of this video. So make sure you are following him everywhere, because obviously this is fantastic. You know, I mean, you got to be on top of this. And so, I mean, this is essentially a taste of what you're going to see in the manga, because this is about your sort of your fictionalized rap career, right?
Yeah, and you know the funny thing is actually, because it's a really interesting experience for me writing the manga, because I'm not just writing a fictional story, I'm actually writing fictional bars and music as well. Yeah. Obviously, for my character, I represent my early work in the manga, so you'll hear songs like "Look Out, There's a Black Man Coming" and "Are You Stupid" and things like that in the manga, which is some of my earliest work. But then there are characters such as Homicide, who is not a real character. So I then have to write lyrics from the perspective of another character and still have them be dope. And that is really, really difficult. I need to just point that out. I hope people appreciate the effort that goes into that, because it's not easy making up lyrics whilst pretending to be somebody else. But I really enjoy it. And it's just a really cool experience to just represent my creativity in lots of different ways. I don't know how, if it ever becomes an anime, I don't know how that will be represented, and that's a hurdle I have to cross at some point. But for now, it's just, you know, it's just cool to do different things and to present my ideas in a visual medium. And I'm really just happy that so many people are enjoying it so far. So thank you for reading it. And if you haven't read it yet, please do check it out on the TOKYOPOP app.
Yeah, I was going to say, as far as I'm concerned, you succeeded. Homicide is, I'll say he's a little bit intimidating. I think there's a lot of Tonio's art comes in on that as well. Lots of like
Yes,
shading
it
and
does.
shadows, and he's a big guy. He is.
Yes, and you know, actually, the interesting thing about Homicide is that he's not a bad guy. And I think that another point I really want to really emphasize with the way of Shao is that there's a lot of gray areas in this, and the main character himself isn't this sweetness and light sort of guy who's always right. He's a bit of a douchebag himself. So you know, there are nuances to everything, and I think that right is based on the perspective a lot of the time, and good is dependent on who the victor is as well. So you know, I think that perspectives change and opinions differ and things like that, and that's really important. And it's possible to have different opinions and for both people to be decent human beings, you know, without it resorting to a name calling match or to everybody being evil or whatever. And I think that again, what I'm telling is just a very human story where people get stuff wrong and people get stuff right, and people just try their best, really. So I'm really excited to explore Homicide's character a lot more and show that he's more than just a two-dimensional villain, you know?
Yeah, well, that's the interesting thing, right? Is protagonist doesn't necessarily mean good guy. It's just the person whose story you're following. And I always find stories much more interesting when there are those shades of grey, when you don't really know who the good guy is and the bad guy is, or maybe no one's really a good guy or a bad guy. Maybe everyone's just living their own truth, and those truths don't align. I think that's really interesting storytelling.
Hashtag Death Note.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've mentioned a couple of times that you did study Shaolin Kung Fu. I have actually seen a video of you scaling a vertical wall in Ninja Warrior UK, which was absolutely insane.
Yeah, it's going to cut out.
Are we going to lose you again? We might lose Shao for a couple of minutes, guys. We'll give it just a moment here. We'll come back and let him talk about his kung fu and his martial arts training when he comes back. While we are waiting, if you guys have any questions for Shao Dow, if you have anything you want to ask, if you have any comments, if you've read the manga and you want to say anything, please leave it in the chat, and you know, we'll make sure we cover it. And of course, if you've got any suggestions for other live streams that you want to see us do, we're fairly new to doing these live streams, as you can see from all of the technical difficulties that we continue to have. But we'd love to be able to bring more creators to you, talk about more titles, follow more subjects that you're interested in. I'd love to have Shao back to do some more later. As you can see, he's had a very exciting life and a very exciting career, and learning more about that. Oh, we're back to my shoulder here. Sorry about that, guys. OBS is very weird when it comes to screen captures. So to touch on something that we talked about earlier, it is important to us at TOKYOPOP to have more diversity in manga. It's something that we have been championing for a while. We love to see more diversity and variance in characters, in creators, in the types of stories that are being told, in the art styles. We think that kind of thing is very interesting. It creates a broader palette for people to enjoy. So if you guys have any suggestions for titles that you want to see us do, please let us know. We are going to continue down that track in our publishing. Are we back now? Do we have you back?
Yeah, the internet was like, I'm gonna let you finish, but I just need to hear these bars.
Yeah, the internet was waiting. It knew it's like, no, I can't do this right now. That would
it was like, no, let me hear the fire, and then I'm going to cut you out.
Yeah, then I'm going to cut it out. Hold on. The internet needed to go look on YouTube and go watch the music videos.
Yeah.
Well, while you were gone, I actually asked everyone if anyone had any questions, and we actually do. Grey Blue Me wants to know, what was the hardest thing while storyboarding the manga, and is there anything in the final product that you wish you could change?
I think the hardest thing for me was just trying to get the ideas out coherently and knowing that I have so many ideas. Like I've got 5 books up here already, and knowing that, you know, like the first book isn't really going to even scratch the surface of the story, but I'm just asking people to trust me that it's going to go deeper, you know. So it's really knowing that there's so much more to come, but not being able to put it all in that first book. Having the dedication to sit down in front of the laptop and write it out, because this was before I'd even seen any artwork, so I didn't even know if this story could be translated into a manga. So kind of taking a leap of faith in terms of the fact that an artist would be able to read my ramblings and turn it into something coherent. And God bless Tonio, he did. But at the time, I couldn't have imagined that. And in terms of anything I could change, I mean, I'm super proud of it, really. And Tonio's art has just constantly improved throughout. You know, it's when you read the first couple pages, it's good, but I feel it could be better. But then it gets better, you know. So if there's anything, maybe at some point I'd love to do a remaster of the first couple pages, just so that everything looks just kind of same. But then I think that is part of the journey to see how the artwork has evolved as well. So really, not yet. I think that I'm still in the learning process. I'm still in a journey that I'm hoping a lot of people are going to follow me along on. And I want the mistakes to be as celebrated as the successes, because, you know, I'm not an expert. I'm no Boichi. I'm no Akira Toriyama. I'm just Shao, and I'm trying to represent something I love. So yeah, of course I'm going to make mistakes, and of course not everything is going to be perfect, but I think there is perfection in the imperfection.
Yeah, I completely agree, and you raise a valid point there. I mean, we were talking about this a bit before the stream, but I learned Japanese so that I could read manga in Japanese, because a lot of it hadn't been translated into English yet. And one of my first manga was Dragon Ball, as we were talking about Dragon Ball Z earlier. And the early art in the first volumes is so completely different to the art in the final volumes, but that's part of the charm, is seeing the journey of watching Toriyama changing and growing and learning. And I think there really is something very I don't want to say charming, that feels a bit too twee, but there's something really enjoyable
Authentic.
about watching that journey happen. You know, you feel like you're a part of it. Yeah.
No, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
absolutely.
So, yeah, no, thank you very much for your question. It's a good question. I think if you read the manga, you'll see the intention, and I think that's the important part. You know, it's not. You can have the best art in the world, but a whack story, and kind of that is what it is. Or you can have, you know, I love Hunter x Hunter, but I struggled with the early chapters just because the art was a bit all over the place. But you push through because the story is great, and you want to see the intention. Now, luckily for me, Tonio is amazing, and even his worst art is still incredible.
Yeah.
So you know, I'm very lucky to have found him and to be able to work with him.
Yeah, and you're right there as well. I mean, one of my favorite mangas that I'm reading right now is Mob Psycho 100, which let's be honest, the artist behind it, he's not very good, and
oh yes,
everyone knows that, but the story and the characters are so good. And if you see the earlier stuff that he did, because for those of you who don't know, he created One Punch Man, which is now drawn by a different artist, but he was the original creator. When you look at the original comic strips for One Punch Man, which was just a gag comic that he put on the internet, they're very, very, very rough. And then you start reading Mob Psycho 100, and it's still rough art, but you see he's starting to get the idea of panel layouts and direction and movement and weight in stances and things, and you see him growing, and it's absolutely fascinating. But yeah, you can, as long as at least one part of your manga is very strong, whether it's the story, whether it's the art, you can sometimes carry the rest of it. For me personally, the story's got to be very strong. You know, if it's a strong
I
story,
agree.
I can definitely go along. But yeah, it's to do another little quick pitch. We do have our manga masterclass, which will be happening this time next Wednesday. It's every other Wednesday. We have, if you go to tokyopop.com/manga masterclass, we do have a list of all of the episodes, what they're going to be about, links to the previous live streams, and we are going step by step through how to create your manga. And actually, the last class that we did was about storyboards and how you do storyboarding. So if at any point any of our watchers out here have thought, oh, I wish I could make that, but I'm not talented enough, I bet you can. You know, so take a look at the classes, follow along, and we're actually going to do a contest at the end. If you create a manga through the class and send it to us, we're going to have one lucky winner is going to have a one-on-one portfolio review with the artist Natalia Batista. She's going to help coach you on your manga. And a number of winners are going to get some Tokyopop manga, so it's definitely worth keeping track of that.
Yeah, definitely do it. Definitely do it.
So we talked a little bit about this before the live stream, but I think this will be quite interesting for a lot of our viewers who seem to be from all around the world. But you know, we know the manga scene in the UK when we were growing up was non-existent, basically. What is it like now? Do you feel like there's a lot of published manga? Is it still hard to get a hold of? What's the indie scene like? Are there a lot of creators? Give us a little bit of insight into that.
It's slightly easier to get hold of when you see places like Forbidden Planet and Waterstones stocking manga. That's always a good sign. I think that a lot of people still choose to read their manga online, or they'll order it directly from the publishers to get the authentic collector's editions and things like that. But I think the fandom, certainly in the UK, has grown exponentially for anime, certainly, and with, you know, so many popular animes on Netflix and things like that. It's grown. I think that some people still don't realize that manga, it starts with manga and then that gets adapted into an anime. And I would love to see more people reading the original manga as well. Personally, if I really love a show, I'll watch the anime and I'll read the manga just to see the differences. Like for me, Death Note, ending of Death Note in the manga, I love the ending in the manga. I do not like it in the anime. And I think that just the changing of the ending completely affects my perception of this entire show, just on the strength of a few scenes. Aside from that, you also get to be a really smug SOB and know all of the spoilers ahead of time. So if anybody, like, I am super up to date with One Piece. Nobody can tell me nothing about One Piece. I know everything that's happening. But if you're an anime watcher, I will ruin your day, because I know all of the spoilers ahead of time. I won't, because I don't like spoilers, but I could.
You have that power.
You know, same with stuff like Attack on Titan. I discovered the anime first, and then it stopped at a key point in the first season. I was like, no, I need more of this. So then I started reading the manga, and I'm super ahead in the manga. So now when they've announced season 4, and everyone's like, oh my gosh, Evan, and I'm like, oh, come on, man. I've known about this for like a year.
Yeah.
You know, you feel really good about being that guy.
Yeah.
So reading manga is cool, and it's really nice to see the artist's intentions before it then becomes animated, and then you can rewatch it again with new eyes. So I'm currently watching Hunter x Hunter with my fiance, and I've read up to a certain point in the manga, and a lot of it was super confusing to me, and I didn't really get some parts and didn't understand what was going on in places. And then now watching the anime, I'm like, oh, I understand, and seeing it moving and things like that just adds a new level to it. But having that base understanding and the idea of where the story's going from the manga already helped me to know that I wasn't going to waste my time watching this anime.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. I've always been a manga fan over an anime fan. If there's a manga, I will probably read it first. And one that I was reading and watching, My Hero Academia.
Same. Are you up to date?
I'm not. I need to get up to date. I really do need to get up to date. I need to catch up on it. Because it's so good. It's so good. And it was so funny watching my friends who are watching the anime and are like, oh my God,
Yeah.
this revelation. And I'm like, yeah, you don't know what's
Dude,
coming
come on, man.
next.
Yeah, what I love is the YouTubers who do these kind of like speculative videos on what they think is going to happen in the anime next, and they haven't read the manga. So when Bakugo had been abducted by the League of Villains, let me not say too much more because I don't want to spoil for anybody who hasn't read it. But people are like, "Oh, he's going to become like Sasuke," and I'm like, "Dude, no, man, come on, like just read the manga, man. Don't do this to yourself."
The one that gets me is whenever anyone comes up to you and says like, "Oh, so and so is my favorite character," and you're like, "Oh no, they're gonna die." I can't say anything. That's always the hardest one. That's so hard not to say anything. And so you know, there's a scene in the UK. There are fans and everything. So do you go to any conventions? Do you go as like an attendee? Do you go as an exhibitor, as a guest? What's that like for you?
Well, I actually attended excuse me. I attended MCM Comic Con in Birmingham, and I set up a pop-up shop, a stall there. I was selling signed copies of my manga as well as merchandise and albums and things like that, and just kind of meeting people who are nerdy like me, and that was really fun. I spent the weekend there, talking to people and selling stuff and just having a good time and geeking out over all the awesome costumes. I've been to London Comic Con a couple of times, Hyper Japan as well. I've attended. Never attended any of the Comic Cons in America, and as I was saying to you, it's something I would absolutely love to do because I just think those guys go hard with the costumes, you know, and it would just be fantastic to see. But my next aspirational goal is to start performing at these conventions and to bring my music into it as well, and to because it's always my long-term goal to have the manga and the music merge together, and that's kind of what I've been trying to do with my music videos. That is the medium where you see the ideas from the manga and the ideas from the music meet. And I think actually the music video for Wait for the Summer, which is my next single out next month, you'll understand when you see it, but it's not manga, but it's definitely got the ideas and the intentions in the animation, and you can see that it's mixing my love of that world with my music. And I always want to do that, and I always want to be performing in places which are different and which you wouldn't expect to see a traditional normal rapper, because I'm not a traditional normal rapper. I'm not that gangster guy. I'm not the charting guy. I am the guy who makes music that is representative of me and that's authentic to me, and who does things that he loves and hopefully that other people love as well. So I truly believe that the sorts of people who attend Comic-Con would love my music if they had the opportunity to hear it. Hence why I'm so keen to perform and to stand on the stage. I mean, the performance I did is nothing in comparison to what I do on stage. I pull out nunchucker for one thing. But it's, you know, it's a weird world we're in at the moment with social distancing. Live performances are non-existent, so you can only do what you can do. But performing through a screen is nowhere near the same as being able to perform on a stage and to physically entertain people. That's what I live for, and that's why I make music.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. You know, if it wasn't 2020, we would be at San Diego right now. We would be setting up our booth and getting ready for the craziness that is San Diego Comic Con. It's very weird to not have those shows, to not be able to see everyone face to face, because that's a big part, right? Is being able to see the fans, see their reaction, feed off of that energy, and then give it back to them. Yeah, that's it's huge, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll be able to see Shao over here performing at some American conventions sometime soon. I know we'd love to have him over here. So we're at the end of our hour now. We're going to wrap up. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. And you know, thank you for the questions, thank you for the input, and of course, thank you, Shao, for joining us and for putting up with your internet issues.
Corporate internet, yeah, unfortunate, but we made it happen.
We made it happen. We made it work. Thank you so much, everyone. We will be doing this again. So keep an eye on TOKYOPOP social media to learn about upcoming streams, what we've got coming up next. Of course, please follow Shao. Again, all of his links are in the description of this video, and definitely check out Way of Shao. You can find it any way that you'd normally buy ebooks. You can find it, but if you want to check out the first chapter, take a look on Pop Comics. Thank you again, and we will see you again soon.